Good players create problems with spin variation. When closing your racket angle results in a net ball, and keeping it open sends it long. The only way to solve this is to counter with your own spin. Today, let's break down why your backhand topspin frequently hits the net or goes long. In practice, your topspin rallies are consistent with few errors. But in a match, the ball often goes long. Why is that? You'll see shots go into the net, and then others go long. First, let's address why your backhand rally ball hits the net. The first reason is losing your rhythm. You start rushing the ball. Your backswing starts correctly, but with each shot, it gets shorter and more forward, causing you to hit the net. Your backhand backswing must have proper distance and space. Having space means you adjust your backswing for deep balls versus short balls. If you use the same backswing for every shot, you're forced to adjust with your feet. The problem for amateurs is that the backswing position remains the same for every shot, even for a simple block. As the rally continues and your recovery gets slower, you lose that crucial distance from the ball, leading to a netted shot. This is the first cause of hitting the net. You're too close and get jammed by the ball. Second, understand that higher-level players hit deeper balls to apply pressure. If an opponent hits a deep backhand and you stand too close, you will be jammed. This is another reason you hit the net. At my current distance, less than a forearm's length from the table, you're completely cramped for space. Getting jammed means the ball arrives before you can execute your stroke properly, causing an unforced error into the net. Because you're too close, you get jammed. Use the same stroke but stand slightly further back, and you'll create the space needed to clear the net. For backhand rallies, maintain about an arm's length of distance from the table. This way, even on a deep ball, I have enough space and time to react without getting jammed, which reduces netted shots. The third reason for hitting the net is failing to move your feet in for a short ball. If a short ball comes and you stay back, you'll only make contact at the very end of your stroke. Footwork is critical. If you're too far, you'll contact the ball with no power and won't generate enough arc to clear the net. So, what's the solution for this? Should I stand closer or further away? You should always start further back. Here's why. Always prepare for the deep ball first. Beginners might not hit deep, so you can adjust your position forward based on your opponent. Prepare for the deep ball, and when a short one comes, don't just reach with your arm. Step in with your foot. If your footwork is slow, use the land and hit technique. Step and hit simultaneously as your foot lands. This is much better than just reaching. If you're slow, start your swing as you step forward, and you won't be late. Ideally, pros move their feet first, then hit. But for amateurs with slower reactions, don't force this. It will come naturally as you improve. Don't just use your arm because your feet feel slow. Hitting as you step is far more effective than not moving your feet at all. This applies to the forehand too. Many players feel their feet are late, so they just reach. You can use the same simultaneous step and hit. Sometimes in a match, things get awkward. You know you should move your feet first, but you can't react in time. When you can't react in time, it's perfectly fine for your hand and foot to move simultaneously. Even for pushes. The best way to push is to step into the ball, both on the forehand and backhand side. If you're really late, as long as your hand and foot get to the ball to execute the shot, it's a good ball. In amateur matches, opponents will often hit to awkward spots. You can't expect a perfect, practice-like setup. Whether it's feet first, then hit, or hand and foot together, it's all better than keeping your feet planted. To recap, the third reason for hitting the net is not moving your body in for the short ball. The fourth cause is dealing with pips out rubbers, like short, long, or medium pips. The reason you hit the net, even against inverted rubber, is often self-inflicted. Because you keep going long, you instinctively close your racket angle too much, sending it straight into the net. Essentially, you're killing the natural arc of the shot by forcing it downwards. This happens when your opponent adds more spin. You keep going long, and after a few of those errors, your automatic reaction is to close the angle, which then results in a netted ball. So why does closing the angle cause a net ball, while keeping it open sends it long? Good players create problems with spin variation. This makes amateurs afraid of either netting the ball or going long, leading to unforced errors. The only way to solve this is to counter with your own spin. No matter the incoming spin, heavy, no spin, or side spin, you should counter it by brushing the ball. Brushing the ball solves everything. Don't just block a power shot or push against a spinny loop. The best method is to proactively add your own spin to every single ball. Too often, players just react to their opponent's rhythm and shots. Don't do that. Take the initiative. You'll make more mistakes at first, but once you learn to consistently spin the ball, the game becomes much easier. This is a major reason why your shots go into the net. Now let's talk about balls coming from pips out rubbers. They naturally have a sinking effect. The ball coming from this type of rubber is very heavy and sinks. A lot of amateurs pick up pips to compensate for a weak backhand, to handle spins they can't read, and to make up for declining mobility with age. As an inverted rubber player, don't be intimidated by pips. Use it as an opportunity to practice your brushing technique. Professional players enjoy playing against pips because there's less spin to deal with. First tip against pips, you must open your racket angle slightly. The first point is to keep the racket face open, because if you close it too much, you can't create the necessary arc. Second, and this is crucial, never back up from the table against a pips player. The ball from pips is heavy and doesn't travel far forward. It tends to sink. The further you back up, the more the sinking effect takes hold, making it harder to generate power. You must stay close to the table. You have to stand your ground. No matter what they hit, stay up front to counter it. If you can rip the ball, it's simple. Just apply heavy topspin. They can't handle it because pips players struggle with heavy spin. Focus on lifting the ball with a high, spinny arc. This will force a lot of errors. If you can't do that, lock your wrist and use your forearm to lift and push the ball upwards. Avoid rotating your forearm like you would against inverted rubber. Let me demonstrate. If you rotate your forearm, you'll hit the net because there's not enough grip and friction. Forearm rotation fails here because the heavy ball will slide off your racket instead of gripping. So, lock your forearm. For a penhold block, a normal forward push will go into the net. You must use your forearm to create the arc. Don't rotate the forearm, as that's for friction. If not executed perfectly, the ball will just slip. If you can rip the ball, it's easy. But if you're struggling with the pace, then lock your wrist and forearm, and drive the ball upwards and forwards. You can be aggressive with this. Like this. Whenever I play against short pips, this is the shot they fear most. Now let's talk about hitting the ball long. Usually, this is caused by overextending your arm and having too big of a follow-through. In practice, you control your power. But in a match, you have the mentality of wanting to hit a winner on every shot. Therefore, you must learn to control the size of your stroke. You can add power, but the stroke needs a clear stopping point. This control is what prevents you from hitting long. With control, you won't go long or make as many errors. Remember, if your mistake is a large swing, you must consciously control it. Stop the stroke at a certain point to ensure the ball lands on the table. The second reason for going long is having your racket angle too open. When hitting a flat ball, like a coach feed, it's fine. But against a faster ball, that open angle will cause the shot to go long upon solid contact. If you then try to add your own power, it's guaranteed to go out. This explains the practice versus match difference. In a match, the opponent's ball is faster and deeper, the combined impact sends your shot long. If you try to be aggressive on top of that, you'll miss the table by even more. Here's a reference: for a backhand drive, keep your racket angle slightly closed. Don't contact the very back of the ball at 3 o'clock. Aim for the 2 o'clock position at least, keeping the paddle face slightly closed. Let me demonstrate. That is a backhand drive. This is a backhand rip. For a backhand rip, your racket angle must be very closed. The backswing should start with the racket face parallel to the floor, opening up only after contact. If your racket face is pointing at your opponent during the backswing, the ball will absolutely go long. If you're not missing now, it's only because your opponent's ball quality is low. Players plateau when they don't advance their technique. A third reason for errors is making mistakes while moving your feet. You might be consistent when stationary, but as soon as you have to move, you miss. This is also a common problem on the forehand side. Amateurs tend to make their swing bigger and hit harder when they move. The correct approach is the opposite: the more you move, the smaller and more compact your stroke should be. You need to contain your power. That is the correct way. The more you move your feet, the smaller the stroke. The more you move your feet, the less power you should use. Remember this. We do the opposite: we move more, so we swing bigger. Of course it's going to go long, because your body is already unstable. Think about this phrase: beginners control themselves, experts control the opponent. Remember this key phrase. When you reach a certain level, it will help you improve. Don't just try to unleash everything from the start. Table tennis is not a sport where you just let everything fly. The fourth point: everyone wants to hit their backhand with power in a match. When generating power, the biggest mistake is any instability in your stroke. This means your entire motion, backswing, contact, and follow-through, must be perfectly stable. My full speed shot is just an acceleration of this stable motion. This also applies to ripping the ball. There can be no shaking or instability during the stroke. You might have a correct backswing, but then your wrist wobbles at contact or your follow-through is unstable. This will not work. The forehand is much more forgiving because the stroke moves towards your body, but the backhand is not. It's unforgiving because the power is directed away from your body. So, if your backhand is weak, analyze the moment of contact. Is your stroke stable, or is your wrist, elbow, or entire body unsteady? A player with a good backhand has a stable stroke through every part of the motion. You cannot have your wrist, elbow, or body wobble at the point of contact. Many errors are caused by this instability. The moment you lunge forward, your hand becomes unstable. That's why you must keep your body's foundation solid. My own backhand is strong. While I can't beat top pros like Chen Meng and Liu Sherwen, my backhand holds its own and rallies against them. Everything I've discussed today is the reason I can maintain consistency and generate power. In a match, power is what wins points. We can't just be reactive, we must proactively generate quality shots. The way to generate that quality while maintaining consistency is to apply all the principles we've covered today.